What does Western Anglo-Saxon mean? This country was made specifically to get away from a lot of like Anglo-Saxon culture. Like the king and the crown and religious persecution, right? Like that's literally all Anglo-Saxon culture, right? I would hate for this channel to turn into the Map Walsh React channel, but this one is actually kind of important. I think that we should listen to it at least a little bit. Map Walsh is back again with something terrible. Remember how we talked about people have been digging through his old talk show radio when he used to live in Delaware? Well, they're back and they've done it again. Map Walsh has gone on a racist tirade about how he hates the idea of the Anglo-sucking, Caucasian, cocking, white, wiggling people are being destroyed in this country. And when the Caucasoids go, the country will go with it. When the whiteness is washed away, there will be nothing but darkness, literally and figuratively, apparently. And he talked about the Great Replacement and how he needs, and how we need to understand that we will never melt together and will only mix into a muddy blend of evil. But hear it himself. Weirdo went on a weird rant. This is put together and clean, and the audio was cleaned up by a friend of the stream, the Surfs TV. Let's listen to it.
Bringing the culture with them if they... Of course they're going to. Of course they're going to. That's what makes them Mexican. Of course they will. That is not...
I'm saying if they stop identifying themselves as just Mexicans and they start, appreciating the country that they currently reside.
What is the country? I mean,
America.
Well, then what does that mean? I mean, if you take away the Anglo-Saxon culture, which is what started this damn country...
Yeah, but you can
Sorry, not damn country.
You can adopt philosophies is my point.
So this is, if you want to know what this is, also, once again, just to make sure, this audio has been improved. If you ever listened to some of the raw audio from this show back in the day, it was genuinely unlistenable. So if the voices sound a little strange, then that is why. But we are going to be linking the original unedited audio here as well and under this video. So if you want to listen to that yourself, to make sure everything was said and not edited, I did, and it seemed fine. I couldn't see any differences, but listen to it yourself if you so choose. It's a bit of a hard listen though, as most of this audio is. So that's what makes them Mexican. No, what makes them, well, it depends on what you mean by Mexican, right? If it makes them culturally, that their culture is what makes them culturally Mexican, sure, but the race is not. That's not what makes them Mexican. If a Mexican person is born in Mexico, but then like moves to America 0.2 seconds after they're born, then like if a person is born, if like somebody walks to the border, like right in the border and there's like a big like gap in the fence and they give birth on the Mexican side, but then the baby is then brought over to the like American side, like the second it's popped out, is that like a Mexican baby with Mexican culture? No. It's not. It's born in Mexico, sure, but like their culture is not about their race. Those are completely different things. It could be analogous. It could be like closely tied together, but they're not essentially a part of each other. It doesn't make any sense. Like Mexican culture didn't spawn from Mexican people. Like there's no culture gene. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm confused by race or culture.
If that's the case, then Matt Walsh, you're Anglo-Saxon or whatever, you're white. Where's the mayonnaise popcorn salad meme? Mayonnaise popcorn salad gene, okay? Where's that? Is that your culture? Where's the mayo popcorn salad gene? I'm gonna point it out. Give me give us your genealogy test and show us where it is. I'd love to see it.
Like, what are you promoting?
Both. You can't separate them. They're the same.
They're not the same. Any Mexicans in chat? Can you all show me your churro gene? With the apple pie gene. Yeah, it sits right next to the apple pie gene. It's right there. It's so easy to spot. You can see it. It's literally shaped like an apple pie.
Oh, what I'm saying is not like I'm making this up. This has just been the case. Go back through history. This is just the way it works. Is that a country is more than just a border. It's more than just a supply. If all America was just like a plot of land we happen to be sitting on, then it would mean nothing to me. Okay.
Well, it kind of depends because in a lot of places, countries didn't necessarily exist. Countries were just bound together by people with big enough weapons to rope together a bunch of disparate communities under one country to pay taxes basically and not be killed, and that's like basically it, or simply to just be enslaved. Like our current definition of countries is very different than like history's definition of countries, and a lot of times that definition of countries just literally does not exist. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. But an area of there are peoples, right? Over time, peoples got like put into countries, and they make countries based on their like shared cultural heritage and everything, or just shared local heritage as well. But that doesn't mean that that's like intrinsic to anything. They're just from a certain area or eat similar, like super similar foods. Got me a little churro in me? Okay, all right, I feel you.
Then it would mean nothing to me. If all America was just like a plot of land we happen to be sitting on, then it would mean nothing to me.
Okay, but like it kind of is. Like it is just a plot of land that we're all kind of sitting on. A country isn't some like metaphysical thing. Legally, a country is just like a piece of document and a military that enforces it, or militaries that like recognize that it shouldn't be encroached upon. Right? Like that's all that America really is. It's just kind of land that we took and then gave a name. That's basically it.
Okay, but because it's also identified with a way of thinking, a way of life, a culture, a philosophy, because that was all there, and it was an Anglo-Saxon thing, then you that's what I identify with. It's not the location and the geography that I identify with. Yeah, I like the rolling hills and I like the Purple Mountains.
What the hell is it's an Anglo-Saxon thing? Me doing my little Anglo-Saxon thing. What's an Anglo-Saxon thing? He's like, America, like it's our thing. We do the thing, the America thing. It's what Anglo-Saxons do. Really? Like what is like most Anglo-Saxons are in, where for at least historically we're in like Britain. Is Britain also like an Anglo-Saxon thing? Like what does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? And like how does he know he's Anglo-Saxon? Does he know that he is? That's my question, because he very much might not be. Has he had like a genealogy test? Getting your ass whooped by Vikings and French people? Well, and that's the case, what about Anglos or just Saxons in general? What about the two groups separately? Do you have to be like Anglo-Saxons together? Like it's only their thing? We don't accept any Anglos or any Saxons individually? Matt thinks salt is spicy. Anglo-Saxons invaded Britain actually? Yes, actually. Original Britons were like overrun and killed by Anglo-Saxons who invaded and overtook the land that we now know as, Great Britain. It's like, yeah, it's fundamentally anti-immigrant. And like, you can't be fundamentally anti-immigrant when this country is literally built of immigrants. That's the point, And some of the like biggest groups of people to come in the country were not Anglo-Saxon. There was just some other variation of white. Unless he thinks that all white people are Anglo-Saxon.
Majesty and all that too. But what I like most is the culture and philosophy that was distinctly Western Anglo-Saxon. And that's what it was. And so when these other groups come,
like what?
And you're,
what does Western Anglo-Saxon mean? This country was made specifically to get away from a lot of like Anglo-Saxon culture, like the king and the crown and religious persecution, right? Like that's literally all Anglo-Saxon culture, right? Do you mean like this variation of Anglo-Saxon culture? Like you can't just say, oh, this is Anglo-Saxon culture. What are you talking about? If that's the case, then we'd have a king. We'd be eating goddamn like jellied eels. Like, come on. Anglo-Saxon, more like alto saxophone, ain't that right? What does this even mean? Bro's just completely out of his mind. A lot of right-wingers love to do this, where they like essentialize a sort of like thing or group to a certain people, that they're the only ones who could have made it, and they're the only ones who can lay claim to it, and the people and their descendants are the ones who should like uphold it or something. Culture is as fluid as the wind, and so many other people can pick it up and put it down. There's no culture gene. The only reason why a lot of cultures come to be is mostly because of like the things they've experienced, like war and the geology of where they live and the typography of the land, and things along those lines. That's mostly of how culture usually comes about. It's just where they are, right? And that's how a lot of these things typically happen and come about. So you can replace that with any other group of people and give them enough time, and they possibly could have made something similar or different, but in a similar way. But just because the things that they came about with and did are things that they did because of where they live, right? And the resources that were available to them, and the land that they wanted to live in, right? That's where that culture comes about. It's not like magically spawning in their head or something, like divinely given to them or something along those lines. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid. Just dumb. It just makes you a dumb man. Right? Man does not dumb man does not racist dumb man does not understand how culture works. Yeah, I don't know. And what is he talking about as well? Is it like the Enlightenment? Because a lot of the Enlightenment came from the Muslim world as well, and in a lot of places in Northern Africa, which I would imagine that he would think that it's not like really, and Asia as well, if that's what he's talking about. But a lot of that is also moving away from a lot of Anglo-Saxon and white and European culture as well. It was specifically made to move away from the current culture. It's almost like culture changes all the time, and whatever we call their culture is what most people believe in, like in a certain moment at a certain time.
Say, well, as long as they don't bring but they have brought their culture with them. So you can say as long as they don't.
American whiteness is the rejection of culture and color, I feel. American whiteness is the rejection of culture, I would say, yeah. It's also the rejection of heritage as well, but it's not the rejection of color. It's the upholding of color. It's like the essentialization of color over everything else. If you tell like a British and French person that they're both white and so they're like the same, they'd both like take a second from killing each other to kill you, and then they'll go back. Or like an Irish person and a Welsh person, that they're the same, that they're going to get super mad at you. Or like an Italian person and like an Italian person and like Romanian person, that they're the same. They'll like go crazy, right? No, absolutely not. They'll tell you they have like an incredibly different culture, and the only reason why you would think that is just because you're like an American, right? And we like rejected all of that just for color, really. But these people are wildly, incredibly different and hate each other and have all through like time. Only recently is a thing like a European Union even like possible or understandable, and it still barely fucking works. It's still like hobbled by the different interests and everything inside of. Listen, I hate to say it, but like the European Union is just like real life white Wakanda, okay? But it's actually way less functional. It really is. It's crazy how that works out. It's less invisible and less functional, but it is just real life white like Caucasian Wakanda. But like here in America, we love to think that, you know, just because someone's white, they're like pretty much the same or like super similar, when their culture is just so wildly, incredibly different than any other the person. Like he even tries to say that, these people these are countries are built with like certain cultures and everything, but like so malleable. Culture changes so quickly. It can change overnight.
But they have, and they will continue to. So let's forget about that, because that's exactly what they're doing. And of course, why wouldn't they, when the original inhabitants, the original inhabitants, of course, were Native Americans, but forget about them for a second. Everyone else has.
Outside of the 100 million Native Americans who are here that were just completely obliterated and wiped off the face of the map, forget about them real quick. Outside of them,
when the original inhabitants of at least the United States of America are dying off because
those were also Native Americans, just so you know.
We decided we're too cool to have kids, then why wouldn't they bring their culture? Because there's a cultural void. What I'm saying is that when we die off, as we have been, we have left a cultural void. And that void will be filled with this other hodgepodge of cultures. And I'll tell you something else. When you have just a geographical location, when there's no agreement at all.
Okay, so what's the Anglo-Saxon culture? Has he been able to like pinpoint, like what's Anglo-Saxon culture? Like what is it? What is it? Because he just keeps saying Anglo-Saxon culture, but like, has he pinned down exactly what that is? Wait, I want to listen one more time.
So can't separate them. They're the same. Oh, what I'm saying is not like I'm making this up. This has just been the case. Go back through history. This is just the way it works. Is that a country is more than just a border. It's more than just a spot. If all America was just like a plot of land we happen to be sitting on, then it would mean nothing to me. Okay, but because it's also identified with a way of thinking, a way of life, a culture, a philosophy, because that was all there.
Okay, a way of thinking, a way of life, a culture, and a philosophy. That's not Anglo-Saxon. It was like, well, that's not Anglo-Saxon. Most Anglo-Saxons didn't believe anything like that, actually. That's why most Anglo-Saxons didn't leave Britain for the US. And a lot of other people did. He just means white. Yeah. Yeah. Usually they just typically mean white. Whiteified. Anglo-Saxon culture, not having access to spices. Sure, I guess.
On what's important to you, what your values are and all that, that country cannot exist for very long. And that's where civil wars come from. That's why we fought the Civil War to begin with, was because there was a cultural difference between the North and the South. And we're going to be heading that way again.
It wasn't I wouldn't say it's a culture difference. They all had basically the same culture, just one liked slavery more. Guys, it's a cultural difference. One loved slaves, the other one liked the thing that slaves made, but didn't like it as much. What cultural is slavery culture? Slavery is culture, unless he's going to say that, oh, the South had freedom culture and the North had not freedom culture. But like, it's the same thing that at the end of the day, when you hear a conservative say freedom, what they really mean is the freedom to take other people's freedom away. That's what conservatives mean when they say freedom. Freedom to a conservative means they want the freedom to be able to restrict the freedoms of other people. They want the freedom to be able to remove the humanity and moral consideration of other human beings. That's what freedom means to them. Freedom is harming other people. Freedom is taking things from other people. Look at them. Like when conservatives screech about freedom, what are they usually screeching about freedom for? The freedom to discriminate, the freedom to kick certain people out of places, the freedom for slavery, to do slavery, to be slave drivers. That's what they mean when they say freedom, the freedom to abuse consent, right? That's what they mean by freedom. They need to take something from someone. They need to take something away. They need to kill someone. That's their freedom, the freedom to do that, right? And think about it as well. The freedom to kill people is a big thing for them as well. That's why they love their whole castle doctrine. Or if you take one step on someone's freshly manicured desert of a lawn, that they get the complete right to blow, to pick up a fucking sniper rifle and shoot you in the chest, like lopping off the top the top of your body, right? That's freedom to a conservative. The freedom to hate, the freedom to kill, the freedom to take, the freedom to restrict movement of, the life of, kill, right? That's conservative freedom for you.
If we don't say, okay, this is who we are, and by the way, the people saying this is who we are need to be plentiful and strong.
I agree.
And potent.
I just personally.
And also, like, I wanted to talk about this as well. Like, other people who are also white brought their culture here. That's why we like Italian subs and everything. Like, Italian people, French people, Spanish people brought their culture here. Russian, Ukrainian, Romanian people, Moldovan people brought their culture here. Greek people brought their culture here. The Turkish people brought their culture here. So many people brought their culture here. I went to a Jamaican restaurant the other day. They brought their culture here as well. Like, sure, they're American. And if you ask, they're American. Yeah, obviously. But whatever culture, listen, here's the take that a lot of these like racist caucasoids don't want to hear. Whatever culture that you bring to America is American culture. I hate to say it. Actually, I love to say it. Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. Whatever culture is here in America is now American culture. Fuck you. True. Fuck you and your culture. You're like, oh, this culture is from my people. Nuh-uh. It's American culture now, bitch. That shit's American. That's mine. That's the real castle doctrine that you need to understand. Any culture that touches any inch of American soil is American culture now. All right? And it's free grasp. Our culture. That's America's most socialist take typically, is that it's our culture now. It's ours. We share now. All right. We share now. All right. Mexicans brought their culture here. Great. That's Mexican culture is American culture. It's my culture now. Don't you even dare. All right. Chinese people brought their culture here. It's American culture now. I'm gonna go to my local Chinese food restaurant. That's American as it gets, brother. That's as American as an apple pie. I'll tell you that right now. It's a great melting pot, and I'm gonna melt. And boy, am I melting! It's the great melting pot, and it's all cooking up. Ooh, it's all cooking up now. Oh, it's all good. All culture is American culture. We absorb everything like we're goddamn Kirby. That's how it is at the end of the day. You no longer you're like, oh, I don't have American culture. I'm from I'm from butt fucking nowhere country where our culture is doing fucking goddamn whatever. It's mine. It's our culture now. Fuckwad. Dumbass bitch. You should have kept it to yourself. All right. Like the people from other countries try to come here to America, and like the border guards like, got something to share for the rest of the class. You can't bring culture here without enough to share for the rest of the class, brother. Who do you think you are? It's take it or leave it. You either bring enough for the class or you go home. That's American culture. We're stealing that shit immediately. And that's just a joke because we can't steal anything because it's already ours. We share. We share. It always was mine. Mine. Your culture is mine. Always will be. Anything that happens in your culture is mine now. We're linked permanently, forever. One person from your country comes here and speaks one word in your language, your shit is mine. What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine. Welcome to America. All right? There is no such thing as real American culture. This country always had Mexican people in it, Native American people in it, Black people in it, Chinese and Japanese people in it, Polynesian people in it, island people in it. From the islands? There is no stop. There is no stopping. There is no stopping. It's all mine. Shork people in it, true and real. It's all mine. You have to share with the rest of the class. You do have to share with the rest of the class. That's American culture right there. That's what makes us great. That's why we're better than every other nation and their shitty little like monoculture and their shitty little garbage. I think they're so cool because they do something they do a little dance that they've been doing for the last 10,000 years. I do a dance that I only saw 1 year ago. Okay, fuck you. That's why America's beautiful, bro. Oh man, that's why conservatives are all incredibly anti-American. They're anti-Constitution, they're anti-American, they're anti-freedom, they're anti-enlightenment. They are back in the day, like conservatives would be way more likely to be for the crown because they love their Anglo-Saxon culture than for this like swarthy, cringe, weird new culture that they're trying to cook up. If it was good enough for Granddaddy, it was good enough for me. His granddaddy was killed because he was framed for stealing a loaf of bread, and he was and so they drawn and quartered him, and they pulled out his entrails, and they all did a little dance with his poop tube in the middle of the town. Just as Granddaddy would have won it. I love my culture.
Feel that you don't have to be an Anglo-Saxon to continue that line of thought. I just think people need to be more patriotic about the country in which they live, know more about its heritage and where.
Damn, they're having a racism off. I just thought about that. That's crazy. They're actually having a racism off. Who can be more chauvinistic and racist? And he's having a screaming match with his with his side piece here, his coworker. Like, you don't understand. You don't get it. Mexican people can't do Anglo-Saxon memes. They can't do it.
Where it came from and how it sprang about. I mean, I married somebody that's. I don't think Maria's Anglo-Saxon, and she definitely has left her culture at the door. So I mean,
what is she?
If Maria and I have 5 kids, like now I'm confused. Am I perpetuating the problem or?
Yes. He's perpetuating the problem. He is diluting the Anglo-Saxon, but that's the problem. You can't even tell who's Anglo-Saxon anymore. Now it's just white, really white, kind of white, arguably white, definitely white, and there's no real culture anymore. You hate to see it. It's a horrible life we live.
See, you keep bringing this up, and it makes me look like I'm making some racist point. I know you're saying that's what you're trying to do, but
you keep bringing up the fact that we're talking about real human beings here, and it makes me seem racist, bro. Oh, really? But he even realizes that he seems racist. He's like, I'm not talking about your wife. I'm just talking about the other swarthy mudskins who come into the country. They just can't do it like us. All right. Mudbloods.
But that's obviously not what I'm saying. Have relations and kids with whoever you fall in love with. That's great. As long as it's the same gender. I'm fine with that. As long as it's the same gender.
Oh, he had to sneak that in there. No gays. He quickly said, as long as they're the same gender. So he's like, no gay. He caught himself because he realized that people could use that clip to make it seem like he didn't want to hang all gay people, but he had to clear that. That was Close call there, buddy. Life flashed before my eyes there. I thought he was going to not be a horrible human being for once in his life. Sorry. Oh, got your hopes up.
I'm fine with that.
Close call.
All I'm saying is that as a general rule, you know, for our culture and our identity to continue, we need to just procreate and keep that culture going. Because you say, well, come over here and have some patriotism and identify with us. Why should they identify with us when we don't identify with us? When it's not even important enough to us to procreate and continue our culture, why should they give a damn about it? They don't. I don't blame them. I mean, what exact philosophy and values have we shown that are so important to us?
Constitution? We're so much more progressive. You know, the funny thing about conservatives asking why anyone would come to America, even though we're one of the largest countries when it comes to immigration in the entire world, if not the largest, is because of how progressive we actually are. People leave their homelands and their culture because it led to so much discrimination and hatred and suffering. And then they come to America because it may not, damn well ain't nowhere near perfect, but it's better than what they left. And so that's why they come here. But they're trying to destroy that. They're trying to actually remove the reasons for why people will want to come to America. People come here for the progressivism that he personally actively fights against, not for the idea of conservative freedom that he tries to uphold. And that's the problem, and that's why he can't see it. That's why he can't see why people would risk their lives coming to America. That's why he can't understand why people die coming to America, really, in like the culture that upholds. That culture is a progressive culture that's further along than almost the entirety of the world, and in some cases way further along than the entirety of the world. Even when we are talking about Europe, I don't want to live in Europe, okay? I don't want to live in Europe. A small country where you have to pay 30% of your income for like literally anything that you want. Way less freedom of speech, freedom of like almost anything that conservatives like don't. Like freedom of speech, freedom of movement, you know, there's so many things that you can do here in the country that you can. And yeah, like a lot of people are bogged down. There are way better things that we need to be doing in this country to fix it. But good Lord, if you look around the rest of the world, like we're doing way better. We got a lot of problems, right? Gun violence being one, healthcare being another one, racism being another one, housing being another one, people left to die because they don't have enough food being another one. But Lord, sometimes I look at Europe and I'm like, I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, especially when it comes to politics and you being left wing. I think at this moment in time, you're actually in a better spot being left wing to be here in America than you are in Europe. In many places of Europe at the moment, England being one of them. Can you even imagine? Like the Labour Party is like the Democratic Party on like black market steroids. It's wild. I don't want to live in any of those countries. I wouldn't want to leave. Like, yeah, like America's got some problems, but like, I mean, absolutely not. Like, I would visit other countries for like vacation, maybe. I'd stay in like the little vacation spot that's specifically made for Americans to get like a little cartoonish taste of what what their country and culture is actually like. But I wouldn't step one foot out of that area. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but I'm sorry. I wouldn't. I would never go to another country and then let's just randomly go somewhere. Hell no, bro. We may never come back. The only good European country with a strong left wing is Spain. Yeah, maybe. And even they're struggling, fighting for their lives. Everywhere is danger. It is. It really is. I don't know. The only other place is maybe Canada. Maybe Canada. Yeah, maybe Canada's up there with us, but I wouldn't want to go almost anywhere else. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like Amsterdam, I ain't going to Germany where I can get goddamn sued for sending a mean tweet. That ain't happen. I hate to say it, that ain't happening. I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to live there. I don't want to get like thrown in the slammer for. I don't want to get thrown in the slammer for like 3 months for sending a mean tweet. Amsterdam's in the Netherlands, not Germany. Their country is so shitty. I don't even know where it is. Oh, my bad for their country being so shit that nobody even cares about talking about it. Your Honor, he was shit posting. Yeah, but that's illegal. In Amsterdam, their language is weird, and their country's even worse because it's like covered in ice for like 3/4 of the entire year. I hate to say it. I'm sorry. But somebody has to say it, okay? It has to be done. I am the chosen one, and somebody has to say it.
I mean, I think the point is that if you're patriotic Americans,
We love women.
that love the country, that have ingrained themselves in this country for several generations, need to start promoting more generations of people.
Yeah, but it's easy to say these vague things like, well, promote and do this and that. But it's the reality. If we actually want to talk about how to solve the problem, it's real simple, but it involves us all actually doing something, which, like I said a million times now, is frankly just having kids and
It's
passing
breeding
it down to
time.
your kids.
We got any Anglo-Saxon women in here looking to get pumped full of Anglo-Saxon children? Do you think it's the Anglo-Saxons men's fault for not being appealing enough for Anglo-Saxon women, and so they date different men like Italians and Polish men instead of breeding with their with their cousins? Shark, please, some of them want to sleep tonight. It's the breed with 13-year-olds. He does think a 16-year-old child is a full grown woman who is of breeding age. And it's the perfect time for her to get impregnated. So I think that is, and there's a reason why people call him Map Walsh. Jesse, we have to breed. Anyways, there's more video that we need to watch. We're not even done yet.
You're not helping the problem. Sorry, you're not. If you don't do that, then you're not helping the problem. Sorry, you're not. You're not helping. I mean, we can all say how we'll just promote the values of this and that. But the way you promote values is to have children and pass it on to them. And if you don't do that,
You could just pass it on to other people. Wait, he said pass on the values? Don't the values get passed? Wait. Don't the values get passed on genetically? Didn't you say that like race and culture is in like inseparable? Once the babies get like dumped out, wouldn't they just have their culture ingrained on them instantly? What do you mean pass it down to them? He's starting to slip up a little bit. What are you talking about, man? Didn't you pass it on to them by like just giving them life? Isn't that it? Oh, wait, you're telling me that culture is actually learned? And you can teach it? And you can show people it? And they can ingrain it into their life, and it's not just something that comes with them after getting popped out of the womb? What? That's crazy. Culture is malleable and people don't have culture ingrained on their bones? That's crazy. Who could have seen this coming? Wow. Honestly, right now, I'm flabbergasted. I'm completely at a loss. He thinks life is like Assassin's Creed. Enzio.
then it's just vague platitudes that mean nothing. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just what it is. And, and I'm no exemption from that. I mean, if I'm 40 and I haven't had a single kid, then I haven't helped. Everyone make their own. I'm just talking in general. The way in general that this country will reclaim itself, that's the way. Or we can become extinct. If that's the route we choose, then hey, it was a good run. Got a good 300 years out of it, almost.
It's a good run. Oh, it's been a good run. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye to the people who loved me. Goodbye to the people who supported me. Goodbye to everybody. Anglo-Saxon time is over. Anglo-Saxons are on the endangered species list. It's so they can't even honestly you ever think that Anglo-Saxons are like human pandas basically? Like we tell them that they need to breed, but they simply just will not. Anglo-Saxon men are just not, apparently they are not bringing the sauce for the Anglo-Saxon girlies, and they're going to the blacks, the gays, the Indians, the Asians, the whites but that are not Caucasian. So the whites but the ones that aren't Anglo-Saxon. It's like what is Anglo-Saxon race, bro? It's just like an offshoot of you're just another form of Caucasoid, brother. Chill out, man. This isn't your culture. You're a conservative. Your culture is like taking rights away from human beings. That's literally all you do. Honestly, saying that your religion is way closer to it actually being a culture than Anglo-Saxon. Like, what is blood waffling about? Racism literally rots the mind. It's wild to me. Shark. This real country is called Lafatchi, Botswana, and the people are called Botswana. They speak Setwana language. Okay, it's kind of based. I'm happy for them. More like Freakazoid, Caucasoid, more like Freakazoid. When it comes to map Walsh, what's the difference? Hey. Anyways, his kids must be the most sheltered kids ever. They get beat. They get beat. But outside of that, yeah. Why would you say that? It's map Walsh. Mr. I violate my kids' consent all the time Walsh. Like, of course. Of course, bro. He literally said in his like little meme-umentary, like hour-long YouTube video, that the only thing that his son needs him for in his life is like food and money, and he has no emotional like there's no reason for him to give like any like emotional like learning or anything to his like son, because all he needs is gun and food. And that's all he'll need as a boy from his father. So like, yeah, of course. He probably beats him and then brings home money, and that's basically all he really does as a father, if I'm gonna be honest. But you know, that's basically it. Hate to see it. Hate to say it, hate to see it. Mr. Racism Walsh is just so strange and peculiar. I just don't like it. I am not into it. I don't like it. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.